Is misha an Gaelga. Is misha de Changa. Is misha de Cultor. Dúshid na Philly me. Dúshid na Húshla. Dúshid na Dini me. Is dúshid alani. Go bro dúil a bhí siad agus misha faoi réim. Och tháinig an stránséir, chuir sé faoi cos mé. Is rud ní bábheasa, níor bhá le a chláán mé. Anis táim lag, anis táim te, ach fós táim liv. Is bé mé go deo. Tóg suas me ceann, chur áthas me chrí. Leabhrigí mé, ó leabhrigí mé.
What you just heard was a poem by an unknown Irish author. I was surprised to see that Irish was an endangered language. When one thinks of endangered languages, one often thinks of Native American or the tribal languages of Africa, not a first world European country. When one looks at the history of Ireland, it is quite amazing that the language has only recently declined to endangered level. Irish history is filled with conquest and cultural upheaval, from the Viking raids in the 8th century to the first Norman conquest in 1167. Ireland is a place of constant change. Despite this upheaval, the Irish language survived. While there's some disagreement among scholars of when the true decline started, most agree that the sharpest decline took place after the famine of the 1840s. It was during this famine that the language of the country changed, with many fleeing to the United States and English becoming compulsory in the national schools during the 1830s. The Irish language quickly stumbled. While never outright banned, Irish quickly became the language of the poor. Pockets of primarily Irish-speaking areas became apparent. These areas were often in mountainous and boggy land, making it seem that only backwoods, uneducated folks spoke Irish. These areas also were of course hit hardest by the famine. Exodus and death furthered the decline of the language as a whole. Even with all the conquests throughout history, Ireland remained primarily a white, Western European country. It wasn't until the 20th century that ethnic and racial minorities started to move into Ireland. Factors like the open labor market made by the European Union and the growing Irish economy had sparked this growth. At this time, about 12% of the population of Ireland are now immigrants. The consequences of losing a language can mean a loss to a link to the past. People begin to wonder where they came from and where they are going. Human cultures are intertwined with their language. Some languages have many different words for similar things or unique words for traditional items that may not exist in other cultures. Losing those languages could mean losing those cultural connections, making those who may have been unique now all the same. Almost immediately after the loss of 1 million people because of the famine, the Irish language had a push to be revived. Growing Irish nationalism during the 19th century led the charge. Today, Irish is taught in primary school and tourism continues to encourage the use of the language, not only to impress the tourist, but so private conversations can continue with the tourists never being the wiser. As the poem said,
Ach fós, táim liv. Is bé mé go deo. Tóg suas me ceann, chur áthas me chrí. Leabhrigí mé, ó leabhrigí mé.